a standard working man. This music thing's been fun, but I think that I am done. Today I'm gonna get myself a real job. Now my insecurity has a better part of me. I'm gonna quit guitar and get a real job. All right, there's a lot of great stuff in this song. It's fairly simple, but there's really interesting harmonic stuff happening. It's also just really fun to play and really nice. I'll show you that. It's really cool. So the main thing is you take this C major chord and you kind of walk this G note up and then back down. Right? That's it. So chord-wise, this is technically called a C augmented chord. Other than you're playing kind of this A minor or C with a 6 in it, however you want to think about it. It's a really cool sound. Then in the intro, it actually goes to this F minor. And we've seen this before, the idea of the minor 4 leading you back to the 1, right? That's a very common move, right? 4, minor 4, wants to take you back there. So, in the intro, it's gonna happen again, but the 4th chord is gonna be the F minor. Right, let's do it again. Right, now the lyrics in the verse part goes, today I'm gonna get myself a real job, same as before. Changes here, I'm gonna be, then really simple, us F, G, that's it, right? I'm gonna be a standard working man. So let's do this from the start of the verse. Today I'm gonna get myself a real job. Gonna be a standard working man. Then this music thing's been fun. This music thing's been fun. So and that's an A minor to a D7. And you can think of that as kind of, it's a common move. If we're in the key of C, A minor is the relative minor to C, right? C major is A minor. And you can kind of 2-5, right? It's like if we were in G, that would be the 2-5-1, right? But we're not, we're in C. So this D major is actually kind of outside of the key center, right? There's no D major in the key of C because there's no F sharp note like this. So this is kind of like the 2 chord in the key of C. And that's a common thing to do. Anyway, this music thing's been fun. Then we go to the D minor, but I think, right? This music thing's been fun, but I think that I am, now to the F, done. So, music thing's been fun, I think that I am done. This music thing's been fun, but I think that I am done. And then the final thing is, today I'm gonna, back to the C. Today I'm gonna get, Now this is a beautiful chord. The basic of it is an F over G, and this is everywhere in gospel music. I call it the classic. I think I got that from Joey Dosick, or maybe Jack Stratton. The classic, it's the 4 over the 5. F over G. Today I'm gonna get myself, right? And you can add, sometimes you can add this note in here. So it's like a 6th chord, or sometimes even add a 7th chord. It's a really, really rich chord. And there's a certain quality about it that just has a really soothing resolution. It's kind of different because this one, when you actually go from the 7th chord, right, and you play a G7, it's kind of got some tension in it, and we're closing off to this C. E, and there. Whereas this is kind of, it feels more, I don't know, wholesome. So that's the classic 4 over 5. Once you hear it, you'll hear it everywhere. So today I'm gonna get myself. Now, before it goes back to the root, there's a note on real job, another chord in there. And the chord, as far as I can hear it, is actually this. So this is an F diminished chord. Now the thing about diminished chords, or diminished 7 chords, is you take, so if we want to make an F diminished, here's how you do it. You go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, there. And now you notice that you get back 1, 2, 3, back to an F. Right? So because the key is 12 notes, there's kind of this cyclical modularity to it where if I start here and I make a diminished, it's the same chord. If I start here and make a diminished, it's the same chord. So F diminished, A flat diminished, B diminished, and D diminished are all actually the same notes. Right? So these are 4 notes of the 12-note scale, and they're all the same diminished chord, right? So actually, inversions, quote unquote, of a diminished chord, you could think of them as inversions of the same chord, or you could think of them as the next diminished chord up. Now, of course, we can do the same here. Or this one. Right? So really there are only quote-unquote 3 diminished chords. There's the one starting on this one, and this one, and then if we get to the D, then it's the same chord. So it makes sense. There's 4 notes in a diminished chord. There's 12 notes in the scale. So there's 3 times 4, 3 diminished chords total. Okay, so back to the actual song. Today I'm gonna get myself a real job. And I think that this diminished chord is actually over this G. Real job. And that's a nice, beautiful, crunchy chord. Now, technically, if we want to be technical about it, this is not really an F diminished over G. You would think of this as a G7 flat 9. Because here's a G7, here's a 9, and if we flatten the 9, we get that A flat. Now, playing it like that is not so pleasant, but playing it like this, is kind of nice. So that's kind of, I don't know, maybe a bit more advanced idea in theory is like, there's ways of thinking of a, flat 9 chord as just a diminished chord over the bass note. Okay, but that's neither here nor there. Real job. So let me just go through that last line. I'm gonna get myself a real job. Now you can also do this over different bass notes if you wanted to. I'm gonna get myself a real job. You could go from D to C if you wanted to. But I think it sounds best with the G. Today I'm gonna get myself a real job. So let's maybe go through the entire verse. With the intro, starting with the intro. And remember this time we're going to go to the F minor. myself a real job. It's time to be F to the G, A minor to D. Music things been fun. D minor, think up to F, hold. Now to C, the classic, this diminished job. And that repeats, I'm contemplating getting on the payroll, or I was never made to have a real job. This passion's burned inside since I was 12. That's it. Now there's two more parts. The first is, now my insecurity has got the better part of me. It's time to quit guitar and get a real job. So it's just those four notes on insecurity. And those chords are G minor. So this is a move here. Here's what we do. So here's what's happening here. Let me just show you the chords and then I'll explain what's happening. Now my insecurity, it's got the better part of me. Woo. So G minor, C, right? It's got the better, and I play here an F major 7. And then here's a B flat 7. Sometimes I even add in this C to make it a B flat 9. There's a B flat 7. And there's a B flat 9. So G minor, C, F, B flat. And then we go back to the end of the verse thing. And get a real job. Now my insecurity, it's not the better part of me. I'm gonna quit guitar and get a real job. Okay, we'll get to that. So let me just explain what's happening here first. So we're in the key of C. Now, a very common thing you want to do in the key of C is you want to get to an F, okay? Now, generally speaking, a great way to get to any chord is to do a 2-5-1 to it, right? Right? 2-5-1. 2-5-1. I sang it wrong. Okay, so we want to get to that F. Now, here's some ways to get to F. You could walk up to it. You could do a C7, that'll take you to an F. Or you could go. But the thing is, this G minor chord is not actually in the key center that we're working in. There's no B flat note in the key of C, but there's this really cool effect when you go from this C to this. So it's kind of this temporary modulation. We're kind of temporarily thinking ourselves as being an F and just assuming for the time being that we're allowed to play a G minor. And it's got this really cool sound. That's a sound you'll hear a lot if we're in a key center playing the minor 5. I'm born in a city, always late, haven't been married since 88. Okay, that's something like that. But so either way, security, it's got the better part of me. I'm gonna quit guitar and get a real job. That's a really nice move. Okay. Wanna soak up the sun. Wanna tell everyone. That's another song, does that? I wanna soak up the sun. That's where I think of that sound is coming from, to be honest. That's like the canonical song in my head, which I really love. Anyway, okay. Back to the thing. Insecurity, it's got the better part of me. I'm gonna quit guitar and get a So let me show you what's happening in the right hand. Basic thing is that we're alternating between C major and D minor chords, right? So here's a C major, D minor, C major, D minor, C major, D minor, C major, D minor, C major, right? So independent of this, what you want to do is just practice that. You want to say, okay, I want to go through this scale and think of every C chord and D minor chord. So here I'm on a C, there's a C major chord. Next note is a D, there's a D minor chord. Next note is an E, there's a C major chord. F, G, A, and B is not in either, so we skip it. Then you want to go back down. Right? Right? So that's just something you want to practice. And it'll come in handy in 99% of gospel songs. So let's go back to this Cory Wong thing. What he's doing is this. So right? So we start on this C, right? And then we go to the next C chord in the inversion, which is this. Right? So next one. So we're just going through the C chords and then playing the D minor chord above it. So let me just do it slowly. And that'll take a while to get your fingers used to, especially this. And in the left hand, I'm going. Maybe I'm doing more than I think I am. So actually the basic thing I'm just doing is that. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. I'm just hitting. Hitting quarter notes. But I'm kind of adding a double one sometimes. Right? Never made to have a real job. This passion's burned inside since I was 12. Though I know I'm not the best, but I think that I can rest knowing I'll never need to have a real job. So there it is. Beautiful song.